Ever feel like you're just scratching the surface with MATLAB? Well, today we're going to crack open its built-in toolkit. Inside, we'll find all the essential constants and functions. These are the absolute building blocks for pretty much any project you can dream up. No, really, just think about it. What if your calculator already knew universal constants? Or what if it could handle crazy concepts like infinity without even breaking a sweat? That's exactly the kind of power we're tapping into here. MATLAB is so much more than just a fancy calculator. All right, let's get this toolkit open. We're going to hand you the core essentials you need to jump into your first project with total confidence. And first things first, every project needs some raw materials. So first up are the essential constants. These are your raw materials. You can think of them as these fundamental, universal values that MATLAB just knows. It saves you from having to look them up or type out a long string of numbers every single time. And of course, we have to start with the most famous constant of them all, pi. Forget about memorizing 3.14159, just type pi and bam, MATLAB gives you its full, super high precision value. This isn't just about convenience. It makes all your calculations way more accurate. Next up is the imaginary unit. Now, what's really interesting here is that while mathematicians almost always use I, MATLAB uses J, and that's on purpose. It's to avoid any mix-ups with I being used as a counter in loops, which is super common. This little detail is absolutely crucial in fields like signal processing and electrical engineering. Okay, this one is a huge deal, especially when you're trying to figure out why your code isn't working. What happens when the math goes a little sideways? If you divide a number by 0, MATLAB doesn't crash. It just gives you inf for infinity. But if you try something that's totally undefined, like 0 divided by 0, you get NaN, which literally means not a number. Knowing the difference is a key debugging skill, trust me. So, we've got our raw materials. Now we need our power tools. These are the functions that actually do the work. You can think of them as the action words, the verbs of MATLAB, that let us manipulate all our numbers and variables. Let's start with a classic you'll be using all the time, square root. It's as simple as it sounds. You just feed it a number, like square root of 4, and it hands you back the answer, 2. It's a fundamental tool you'll see everywhere, from basic geometry to complex statistics. What if you only care about how big a number is, and not whether it's positive or negative? That's where abs for absolute value comes in. It's all about the magnitude. Give it abs -5, and it just returns 5. This is perfect for when you're calculating things like distance or the size of an error. Now, for anyone doing trigonometry, you've got functions like sine, cos, and tan built right in. But here is the single most important tip. MATLAB always thinks in radians, not degrees. This is a super common trip-up for beginners, so get in the habit now. Always make sure your angles are in radians. And speaking of common trip-ups, here's another big one. In MATLAB, if you just type log, you're getting the natural log, which is base e. If you actually want the common log, base 10, you have to be specific and use log 10. And look at the difference. Log of 10 is about 2.3, but log 10 of 10 is exactly 1. Getting this wrong can really throw off your results. Okay, so we have our materials and we have our power tools. Let's talk about keeping our workshop clean and organized. These next few commands are all about controlling the MATLAB environment so your workflow stays tidy and efficient. This right here is one of my absolute favorite tips. If you put a comma between commands, MATLAB will show you the result of each one. But, and this is the pro move, if you end a line with a semicolon, MATLAB does the calculation silently, in the background. Using semicolons is the key to keeping your command window from getting totally cluttered. And for the ultimate reset, here's a simple 2-step cleanup. First, the command CLC, that just clears the text off your screen, like wiping a whiteboard. But your variables are still there in memory. To get rid of those, you use clear. Using both CLC and clear gives you a completely fresh start. And please don't forget the most powerful tool of all, the help command. Seriously, if you're ever unsure how a function works, just type help followed by the function's name. MATLAB will give you a full explanation with examples. It's like having the entire user manual built right into the program. And there you have it. Your starter toolkit is complete. You've got your essential constants, your core functions, and the commands to keep your whole workspace clean and professional. These are the fundamentals, the bedrock of everything you're going to do in MATLAB from here on out. So, you now have the raw materials and the power tools right at your fingertips. The only question left, and it's the most exciting one, is what would you build first?